So, Leigh, The Boys has just finished season 4. It's been pretty much touted, the show overall, as being one of the best superhero TV shows, franchises that we've ever seen. We've previously been talking about how this Invincible has been sort of carrying the back of the superhero genre for maybe this year especially, if not recent times. But in terms of The Boys specifically, where do you feel The Boys sits in the all-time list of superhero shows or even franchises, shall we say?
Look, I think The Boys is going to be when the superhero generation finally dies down. It's very similar to the Westerns. I believe The Boys is going to be up there in the same breath in the top 10 that we will look back on and watch. Like, you're going to, in the same breath that we talk about The Dark Knight, the same breath we talk about Avengers Endgame, the same breath that we talk about Logan, the same breath we talk about The Boys, Invincible. I think it will always have a special place up there. And I think, which I did see a recent theory as well, hopeful, which I think was Mother's Milk, was that he hopes that season 5 won't be the end and would hopefully lead into a movie. And I think if The Boys did a Boys movie, boom, you're talking about billions of dollars right there at the box office. And I think it should be, but The Boys is right up there just because where someone's just taken a comic, also looked at the current state of the landscape and basically thrown in tentacles, pink eye, everything you want, and then here's this fantastic show that's the complete opposite to nearly anything at the moment.
And that's just this season. Tentacles and pink eyes, just to name a few.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the exploding girlfriends, the giant penises. The tentacle stuff, there's a lot more into it.
The exploding balls of Gen V, perhaps.
Yes, yes, and also getting jerked off by an Ant-Man. Ant-Woman.
Man exploding inside the urethra of a man's penis. Yeah. Whatever it is, I think The Boys will go down as a legendary status show. Not just for the spectacular gore, but to be fair, it's given us some of the best fights and the best stands-off and some of the best, I think, overall action for a superhero show anyway. We know the MCU has maybe not been at its best in recent years, and before that it had the balance of being really good storytelling but family friendly at the same time. Obviously something that The Boys doesn't care one iota about, because the comics aren't family friendly, and certainly the show is not family friendly even in the slightest.
No, not at all. And I think it's, if you have that type, if you are tired of Marvel movies and looking for that a little bit different, I recommend The Boys to everybody. Actually, even some people who if you watch Game of Thrones, stuff like that, I'm like, no, you should be watching The Boys. And when people go to me, oh, it's all about superheroes, I'm like, the superhero part's like this much. The rest is just brutality.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I would have got onto it as quickly if it hadn't been for you kicking my ass. It had been on my Amazon list for a long time, and you tipped me over the edge finally, so I appreciate that. But The Boys, it's going to go down in history, isn't it? One of the best.
It will. And it's a darn shame that it is going to be ending. But same thing with Seinfeld. You don't want to keep going on past your prime to what's meant to be. You never know. Season 5 might be fantastic, but then season 6 might be awful. And then same thing, I had to compare it again to Game of Thrones, but people have that disdain memory because that last season was so bad. Yet at the same time, the rest of the seasons is regarded one of the best in television.
I was personally going to compare The Walking Dead. Just don't want a Walking Dead scenario.
Way too long.
Welcome to the Galactic Core Podcast. Here to review the latest films and TV shows from all your favorite intergalactic universes. Now, It's time to get your geek on. Please welcome your host, the prophesized chosen one. It's Andy.
So, welcome back, everyone, to the Galactic Core podcast. Thank you very much for returning to have a watch of this particular episode. I've been absent the last couple of weeks. I've not been particularly well, unfortunately, so I have missed reviewing episodes 6 and 7 of The Boys and 6 and 7 of The Acolyte, so I do apologise about that. I haven't had a chance to catch up and do anything with it. But I am here today to review episode 8 and the finale of season 4 of The Boys. Fantastic guest who came on to review the start of The Boys, so it was really good that he agreed to come back on and review the end of The Boys. You all know him, he's a friend of the show, he's been on countless times, and it's always good to see him back. He always brings his smiley face and his rather obscure accent to the show. Welcome back to the show, Leigh from Lights Camera Run, everyone.
Hey man, thank you for having me on the show, man, and I appreciate the smile and the obscure accent. I appreciate that. It's always a good time coming on the show, so when you message me saying, hey, do you want to talk about The Boys, I'm like, I'm in. Say no more. Just like Rick and Morty, I'm in.
Oh, fuck me, finally.
Thank you.
Just for the record, I pressed that button about 15 seconds ago. It just decided, when I introduced you, I hit it and it just went, I'm not going to play now, I'm going to wait a little bit. So, lovely technology that we're always at the whim of.
I know. It's like, and it's just like, oh, everything should go fine. There should be no issues. And just like as we were just talking before, even though if it's plugged in, you're still going to have bloody issues.
No, fucking technology, mate. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining as always. If for any reason you are not following anything that I'm on, you can catch the show on Instagram, on Facebook, even though we know Facebook's dead now. There's no point to it. I just do it as a formality.
Well, it's funny you say that, because, like, I get some of the highest views of the episodes, actually, on Facebook, strangely enough.
Yeah,
Don't know why. Don't know why.
I'm dead on Facebook. I mean, yeah, I don't know why you get it on Facebook. You've obviously got an older following. Obviously the boomers follow you and watch on Facebook. Clearly.
How old do you think I am?
I know you're younger than me, to be fair. So. But yeah, you can always catch the Galactic Core podcast at Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch, and of course YouTube. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Make sure you're following the show. Also, whilst you're there and you're being lovely and subscribing to my show, pop over to Lights Camera Run. If you're not already, join the 8,500 strong crew that already follow him. What are you laughing for? It's 8,500 people loving Lights Camera Run.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I follow you. I follow you on every single platform.
No, I absolutely appreciate that, to be fair. But yeah, make sure you give Lights Camera Run a beautiful follow, whether that's on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube as well, where he's always dropping loads. How many consecutive weeks are you up to now?
165. 165 weeks we haven't...
Get a life. No, I'm joking. This man is amazing. Been streaming since 2020. Hasn't missed a fucking week. He's non-stop. He's the podcast machine. Relentless. No wonder he's got so many followers. He's putting us all to shame with his work ethic and his just love for getting all the news out to you and having a chat about it and ranting, literally. That's what his show's based on. So,
thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I'm really trying to catch up with you. I'm really trying to stay consistent with you.
That's an absolute lie. The only thing you're catching me up on is age, mate. That's it. So...
No. Your new intro is fantastic. Your outro is also fantastic. Sounds very familiar, but I love it.
Yeah, I'm not sure quite where I got that from, to be fair, or who I got the guy from to do it for. But
I don't know. As soon as I heard it, I was like, that sounds pretty fucking good.
We'll just never know where it came from, to be fair. It was just something random that I cooked up, myself in the studio. It's fine.
But at the same time, man, you have the well of knowledge of Star Wars far beyond me, and that's why I always, besides your personality, that's why I always want to get you on the show, because you know so much more of me, and I always do enjoy getting shit on because I haven't seen Clone Wars.
I start to feel bad sometimes. 'Cause I'm like, it's kind of like just beating a dead pigeon on the side of the road, isn't it? When it comes to Clone Wars. So, I'm sure you'll get there one day. I mean, you convinced me to watch stuff. Maybe it's time I start leaning on some pressure on the neck for you to start watching Clone Wars. So,
I know it's on the list with everything else.
I'll watch Invincible if you watch Clone Wars. How about that?
Invincible's only 2 seasons. Clone Wars is 8, isn't it?
7.
Oh, 7.
It's all right. Most of it's only 20 odd episodes. It's fine.
Yeah. And isn't the first episode a boring story about Yoda?
Oh, that's the original film that they dropped before the series, the animated film. So yeah, it's not the best film that Star Wars has ever produced.
No,
Rank it in there with the sequels, mate. It's fine. Or the holiday special, whichever.
Oh, don't talk about that.
Anyway, what we are here to talk about is The Boys. So, I mean, season 4's ended now. 4 seasons down, 1 remaining to go in the countdown till The Boys finishes altogether. What's your overall thoughts been for season 4, Lee?
Season 4, I've been finding it, like, I do know that a lot of feedback saying that people have said the season's been disappointing, not as action-packed. To me, I feel the season's still just as strong. Yes, we didn't get as much explosive fights, but just the emotional beats, I think, for all the characters that we've been getting from season 1, season 2, we get a lot of that. Especially Homelander, showing what happens when a superhero starts getting old. Kimiko and Frenchie, finally. And Butcher, semi on his deathbed, but not on his deathbed. Ryan, A-Train. Like, there's still a lot of emotional beats for the entire team for this season. Will it be one of the seasons that people, I think, will go back to the most? I don't think so. But at the same time, the level of quality, CGI, and action is still so much higher than a lot of what's out right now.
Yeah, it's been so consistent throughout, isn't it? That you could literally watch every season back to back, and you wouldn't tell any difference between any of them in terms of the quality, and the CGI and stuff like that. So there's not one point where I've kind of looked at the screen and went, "That looks absolutely ridiculous." Apart from maybe the love sausage, it's about as ridiculous as it gets.
There's nothing. There's only so much you can do to make a love sausage look real.
Yeah,
and it's terrible knowing that Ant-Man inside Urethra looked really good.
Oh.
And that set was really made.
Yeah, but yeah, in terms of quality, the show has been so consistent. We know this season has been a bit more of a satirical take on the current political structure of the world. I think it's fair to say.
Just a little bit, especially what's happened in the past week.
Yes, yeah, especially that. But we know that Eric Kripke, obviously writer, came out at the start of this series and went, it's going to piss some people off, and if you don't like it, fuck off and watch something else, which is fair. Not many people try and justify their show sometimes, and what they're doing is like, if you don't like it, go and watch something else. And it's like, fair.
That's it. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is watching the difference between something like, say, The Boys and The Acolyte, which both are getting criticised from different areas for what they're portraying, and just the way that the deals with it. So the writer and director of the show has just been like, this is what I'm writing, deal with it. If you don't like it, watch something else, and that kind of blew over quite quickly. Whereas The Acolyte continued as it received its backlash, and then actors and directors came up and fired back, and it's sort of like so different ways to handle a show in terms of how they've dealt with it. So the Boys so consistently good, even if, like you said, this isn't maybe going to be everyone's favourite season, it's still getting the story where it needs to be, and it's not like it's completely dropped off a cliff or anything like that.
No, and similarly, which we spoke about the other day, was spoken out just recently, was you watch The Acolyte and it's like one episode's like one episode's like yeah. The Boys season 4, it's just win. Like every episode still moves the story great. The emotional beats are still there, and each episode has something unique to it. So you're still like, yep, this is still great. You don't feel that like that mid-season. which to me I felt the most watching Andor.
Interesting, fair.
Because it felt like slow win, slow win, slow win.
And Andor was a slow burner though, and then it ramped up once we got to the prison stuff. But
it did. But after that first episode with the escape, the rest of it, I found you just like, yep. Guess we'll just wait until something happens.
Well, good old Star Wars, eh? Always keeping us slowly chugging along.
Yeah.
Whereas the boys go straight into it, whether it's ravenous, V'd up sheep, chicken and bursting through your chest, or whether just a bit of casual sauna pink eye. Either way, the boys has got something covered on all ends of the spectrum.
Yes, or someone's boyfriend's leg getting cut off. He cut off his leg. Hey, to be fair, that wasn't me. That was Butcher.
Yeah. That wasn't us. That was Butcher. It's absolutely fine. But let's get into episode 8 then. So we're just going to sort of have a bit of a recap and just chat through some of the incidents of the show. So we'll start with Victoria Newman. To be fair, so she. Obviously, in the last episode a couple of episodes ago, after Sage got shot in the head and was unable to give a presentation of essentially what their coup would be, she steps in, sort of says, "I would be in charge of this," and here we see Homelander just getting pissed off with everything, and he's just like, "Fuck all this bullshit, man! I'm sick and tired of it." So he basically outs Victoria Newman to the world on the Vought News. Gives her a little shot in the chest with his X-ray vision and just outs her as a superhero to the world. And she just sort of realises at this point that she's basically doomed to always be Homelander's bitch, in a way, and that things aren't going to go the way that she wants it to go. And, she realises that she's got to get out for the sake of her daughter. So she calls Huey and they kind of make a deal that what's going to happen there is that she's going to basically help them take down Vought and Homelander. And obviously it doesn't quite go that way for him. I'm kind of jumping a little bit with the story here, but I did want to start with her because she's been an interesting character. We're going to see more of her reportedly in Gen V Season 2. Reportedly playing a big role. So where Gen V fits into the timeline, I think we chatted before and said it's probably going to run concurrently. With season 5 or overlap with season 4, overlap with season 4 of The Boys, because obviously she gets fucking killed at the end of this in this episode. So
yep,
and there's no coming back from that.
It could explain why we didn't. It also makes sense that if it's same timeline coherently, why we didn't see Kate and what's name Sam all the way through the series, and we've only seen them twice.
Yeah. But any thoughts on Newman's, in a way, sad ending for her, but the predictable way of when she comes to that realization that it's not going to go the way that she thinks, and she then wants out, even if it's for the sake of a daughter, it's kind of predictable that was coming, I think, and that there was going to be a turn on the cards. But obviously, she is no more. What are your thoughts on her journey?
No, look, when she got first introduced, I think she was a great character. What she did in Gen V was great, and like as I was talking to you, I feel bad for her because not only did her father double cross her, her lover got captured and lost his leg. She injected V into her daughter to try and protect her, and then finally she said, "Oh no, I'm out. I want to leave everything." And she gets, and the thing is, her ability was terrifying. She had a very terrifying superpower and made her such a huge threat. But now she's in pieces.
Yeah. I mean, her superpower as well. I love the fact that, she basically, before she walks into a room, starts making everyone's nose bleed. And it's sort of like, I'm here now. I've got the power.
Yeah.
Don't fucking do nothing stupid. It's sort of like attitude of just... aura of walking into a room and being like, "Yep, I will pop your head off, or any part of your body that I can make explode with blood if you do anything untoward towards me." So, shame that unfortunately she's passed on. I thought she would have been a good ally for season 5. It was always part of the theories I was reading that did she have the ability to pop Homelander's head?
Yeah. I think she would because it would be internally. It'd be internally coming out. I think she would have the ability to do it straight away. I think she would have the ability to do it. The only thing is, we knew going into this final there was going to be a major death.
Fair.
So not everyone was going to be walking out of the final alive.
True, and a lot of the money would have been bet on A-Train, who was conspicuous in his absence in this episode.
Yep, knew it'd be fine.
Didn't feature at all, so that's surprising in itself. And that was who might, again with my long prediction of incorrect predictions of being incorrect there. So my money was on A-Train. Didn't even appear. So, well, R.I.P. Victoria Newman. We'll see more of you in Gen V, but won't be in season 5 for sure. So
no, and she had a very very brutal death.
And interesting that.
But brutal.
Yeah. I mean, pulled apart by Butcher, who we'll get to in a moment, to be fair. But interesting that her daughter then gets sent to the same sort of orphanage that she grew up in as well.
Yeah, and that's another thing is her daughter going to become a threat in season 5 and being like, we're going to kill Butcher with her weird tentacle multi-Medusa mouth.
Fair, I haven't really thought about that.
There'd be one freaky guy going, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course there would be.
Yeah.
I just assume you probably wouldn't see anything more of her, to be fair. But who knows? Because we know that Stan Edgar was obviously freed by Newman, and he's still out there. And he was wanting to protect Zoe, the daughter. So maybe he has something to do with her going to that home, or he picks her up from there and then deals with her in season 5. So that's something we'll have to see. Because again, Stan Edgar, maybe expected him to pop up in this finale that we didn't get, another character we didn't get to see.
I'm sure he will be. Hey, we did get one character that I wasn't expecting. Rumoured for season 5, but wasn't expecting him to pop up.
Tell me.
Soldier Boy.
Absolutely. The little cameo we got at the end there of him, obviously after the new president found out that that the CIA were keeping him on ice, essentially, and Homelander sort of looked at him. So, a few theories about what Soldier Boy is going to be doing in season 5. So, he either escapes, and he's obviously might be absolutely pissed at Butcher since Butcher broke their deal to take down Homelander previously. But he's still going to be on the side because he wants to take out Homelander himself, and he's going to be part of the crew that helps take Homelander down. Or we've seen Kate's powers. We know that she has the ability to obviously hypnotise people and make them do her will. So if they wake Soldier Boy up and Homelander uses Kate to manipulate Soldier Boy into basically being his little bitch boy, or his number 2 man, or his personal soldier, or even turning him into the dad that he needs him to be, because he's always needs a mother figure or a parent figure, and he'd basically hypnotize Soldier Boy into being that parent, especially since in Gen V Soldier Boy randomly turned up in the dreams of the people of the rest of the crew that Kate had manipulated into being in a dream state.
Yeah, well, no, he popped up in Kate's mind because she was her childhood heartthrob. So,
a little connection there already between Kate and Soldier Boy. So maybe there'll be more of a connection there in season 5. So
could be. I can see that.
Any thoughts about Soldier Boy for season 5?
My thoughts is if he does come back, Kate influences her. It could be very much Homelander, Soldier Boy versus Ryan and Butcher.
Interesting. Do you think Kate has the ability to influence Homelander? Because she could basically be I know she has to touch someone to use her powers, but the fact that she can lock people in a dream state in their own mind, that she has the ability to touch pretty much everyone that we've seen and influence them. So, do you think she has that ability with Homelander? Because she could basically take over, essentially, couldn't she?
Well, her power is insane, and I think she's gonna die at the end of season 5 because she's very much like Newman. Her power is too much of a threat, and she's gonna die. So. She could control Homelander, but I think with everything that happened with Ryan Ryan's going to want to kill Homelander, but not be happy with Butcher, but will help Butcher. And in the end, Ryan will, and it still will be Butcher killing Homelander. That's going to still be the crowbar in the mouth, very much like what we see in the comics. But at some point between that big fight, Kate's going to die, or she might die in Gen V season 2.
Maybe. I mean, we do see Kate later in this episode, which we'll get to a bit later, to be fair. But in terms of just touching on the last thing about Soldier Boy, so we know Soldier Boy is going to be around for season 5. We've got another interesting character. We don't know what the character's going to be, but an interesting actor coming into season 5.
Yes, we do.
Jared Padalecki, good old Sam Winchester. It's been in talks, and from what we've seen, has agreed to come into season 5 with the boys. So both Winchester brothers are going to be appearing in season 5. Rumour has it he's going to be playing the boys' equivalent of Thor. The Thor character, or Norse god in the boys. In the comics, I believe he was like an ally to Homelander. So maybe we could get Sam versus Dean in season 5 if Soldier Boy wants to go up against Homelander, and then he's got this Norse god on his side instead, and we basically see the Winchesters go up against each other. I would be living to see that.
I think
in season
that
5.
would be so many people would be dying for that scene.
With Eric Kripke obviously being famous for having done Supernatural, that's why we see so many Supernatural actors in the show.
Yes,
but yes, to see
only one missing now.
Yeah. I mean, to see Sam versus Dean would be pretty epic. I can't wait to see that if that does happen. So, but next we move on to Billy Butcher himself. And he has a bit of an interesting episode, to be fair. So we start off this episode. He's in the CIA safe house. He's pretty much dying at this stage.
About to drop off.
Yeah, and he's decided. He's pretty much set on accepting his fate, it seems. He's accepted Ryan, or Ryan has accepted his call or his text or whatever to come in and see him. And he's sort of chatting to him about his situation. And they're sort of trying to basically tell Ryan, you've got to leave Homelander and stay. And Ryan starts freaking out because Mallory's telling him, tells him basically the real situation of that, we're going to train you to kill your dad. Reveals the truth that Homelander raped his mum, and that's where he came from.
That was
Ryan was sort of on the fence. He's just like, I need some time to go away and think. And he probably would have come round to the idea, I think, because he gives sort of realising that, whilst he likes some things about being at Vought Tower, his dad's a bit of a psychopath after all. I think he would have come round, but Mallory trying to force the issue and telling him, look, I will lock this place down and we will keep you in here. And fucking Ryan goes off his nut and basically pushes Mallory into the wall and kills her pretty instantly. And then Butcher has this sort of flip out moment where I can't remember the dude's name. Trying to look for it. Joe Kessler is Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Who's been dead.
Yeah, who's been dead this entire time, who's always been a persona in his head, basically playing the bad guy. He's sort of...
Well, Becca's gone. Wherever that good of Becca is gone.
Seems to be.
Last episode.
So Kessler essentially takes over.
And I feel sorry for Valerie when she died. I'm like, because I know she partially raised Ryan. She was only trying to do the right thing, which I think is another reason why Butcher was just like, all right, let's just go. Let's go down that road because can't trust Ryan. She's dead. You can't trust the team fully. And he knows he's on his deathbed. He's got only one mission.
Yeah, pretty much. And so he then goes to this meeting between the boys and Newman. And they've pretty much got it sealed that Newman's going to help him take down Vought and Homelander. And then in walks Butcher looking fresh as a daisy, no longer deathly ill.
The black jacket.
Looking
trench
fresh.
Coat. Yep, ready to go.
Yep, and he's just
no deals.
Yeah, absolutely no deals. Lets his tentacle, what was that I called it earlier? What was it, cancer venom or something?
Yeah, cancer venom, pretty much.
Cancer venom comes out and just rips Newman apart. And then obviously Huey tells the others not to attack because it's going to be suicide. And then he takes the one injection they've got of the soup virus or Frenchie, and he's just like, this is it. This is what's going to happen now.
Absolutely.
And walks off.
and that he's going, and that's a theory that I do have, the fact that Homelander will kill, so Butcher will kill Homelander, but it'll be Huey with that virus and that gun that will kill Butcher. Butcher will turn to Huey and go, "Do it."
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, because we're heading into this final series where we're going to get the promised scorched earth sort of battle between Butcher and Homelander, where they want that final one-on-one sort of last man standing fight.
I just hope it's not going to be quicker either. Like, I hope it's still going to be a decent amount.
It's always interesting, isn't it? Because we always sort of, for a long time in TV and film, they've always done like the epic final battle between the big bad guy and the complete hero. Has always sort of been an epic battle, and they try and make it last as long as possible. And then there's been a shift recently where they kind of show it as being a quicker battle. Because to be fair, I think most battles don't, in real life anyway, would not last that long. So someone makes they would always be over fairly quick. We don't want that because it's TV, I guess. We want it to be a long, epic battle for the sake of it. But you don't want it to drag on unnecessarily. And it would be even funnier if Butcher just kills him in one foul swoop. After all that build-up.
I feel like they'd be anticlimactic. I just feel because they've just been doing it for so long. Yeah. They've been building up to this massive fight between the two that you want to at least last. You want to feel with every punch between those two, every frustration from the past 5 seasons. You want to feel every beat, every bloody nose, everything they feel. You know, you want to feel all that build up in one go and that final blow.
I think that's fair. I mean, even though this has been on the cards since the beginning of season 1, not to fire a random shot at another show for no reason, but the drawing out of this battle coming between Butcher and Homelander is felt less drawn out than the way that the Acolyte drew out the secret of what Sol did over the course of 7 episodes.
What happened on Brenda? You'll find out. Tune in next week to find out what happened on Brenda.
We already fucking know. But either way, I mean, it hasn't felt like they've overplayed this. That it being my point in it. Whereas the Soul thing was overplayed, and that was 7 episodes, ridiculously drawn out. But here we just know it's getting to that point, and it's not been overplayed, and we're just looking forward to it, aren't we? So that's going to be the big thing for season 5. So, in terms then of what happened with the assassination attempt. Obviously, lots of warnings put out before the show that this does not imitate real life. This is a fictional show. It was obviously filmed months before anything that happened in real life.
Filmed.
So they were very clear about putting these statements out before it happened because they just didn't want any. So unfortunate timing, shall we say?
It really is the fact that in the past week, leading up to the final, that everything happened with Trump, and I know there's weird people out there that be like, oh, you know, somehow they've put this entire production and made it within 4 days ready to release on Amazon, all about the assassination attempt, which they currently right now, the episode was called Assassination Run, but right now it's just called Episode 8 on Amazon Prime. I assume they'll give it a month or two, they'll bring back the title of the episode.
Hopefully so, or just give it a new title, I would suspect.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Butcher wins.
Obviously, because this season has been very much a satirical take on the current political climate in certain countries. Even down to, at this episode, they talked about the date of the attempted assassination and coup being January the 6th, which matches up with a certain, what was, I believe, was called an insurrection on the Senate buildings.
Right.
So yeah, lots of I was going to say fun parallels. I'm not sure fun's the word I'd use anymore given the recent circumstances, but you know what I mean, though. So, the comparing of it all is been interesting, to say the least. So we do get this assassination attempt on the president. So we get this shapeshifter that has one of the most disgusting ways of changing bodies we've ever seen, I believe.
Nothing elegant, nothing sweet about it, just gross.
So to actually have to rip your skin off to grow the new skin of the person that you're imitating, and then having to recharge it every now and again, because if you go for a while without having touched the person that you're imitating, your skin starts to rot off
and
so
peel.
yeah, so that's interesting. But we get them obviously pretending to be Annie, and her doing all sorts of things that should have tipped Tui off a bit sooner than he did work it out. Proposes to him, lots of sex, finding her keys at the first attempt. But they basically get into the bunker, and the whole assassination attempt happens. They manage to get her out whilst Annie pretty much fucks up her hands and wrists to escape where she's actually being held. And that obviously funny line when she finally decides to forgive him, and she's like, "You were going to get tested for every disease you can possibly think of."
Yeah. Oh, and I did think when she did propose to Huey, I'm like, how does she know all this? Like, how she would know all those memories? Because she's just a shapeshifter. Until she actually does explain to Annie that, okay, she takes the memories of that person as well. So I was like, okay. Because when I saw that scene, I was a bit like, how would you know that unless she had a diary?
It's pretty sick though. That I mean, when I say sick, I mean like the good kind of slang sick. That if you're a shapeshifter and you touch someone, you do get all those memories, because that's always a sticking point in some sci-fi shows, isn't it? When someone's a shapeshifter, they're just taking on the form, but you don't get any of the memories, and so that's the way it's like the Skrulls, for example. Like they get a limited amount of knowledge of the person they're taking on, not the full memory. So if you like ask them something that they know about them from 10 years ago, they're not going to be able to tell you, and you can read them out. Whereas this is like so different because they have all your memories from everything. Dead. Yeah. But just hope that basically, Huey's going to get tested to make sure he doesn't have shifter syphilis.
Shifter syphilis. Yeah.
But that was kind of intense as well.
Shift age.
Yeah. But definitely intense in the fact that it looked like for a moment they were going to get the president, because we were expecting him to die in this episode. To be fair, it was originally going to be, I think, a head pop from Newman or something, wasn't it? But
yeah, sure.
The shifter sort of breaks Kamiko's neck, and we knew obviously she's going to come back. But
one thing I will do, one of the small details I do like about the boys is that when you have two superheroes fight, you hear it like the punches sound so like a pure thud. Like, it doesn't sound like a normal fight. Like, you can hear it, like, hurt, like, twice as hard, or how much it sounds twice as hard. So you feel that fight when it's two supes versing each other.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've got to go a little bit heavier, isn't it? Because they have a better ability to withstand.
Yeah, they did it to a human. They're dead. They're missing their face, as we saw with Deep. Deep and the Rider.
God, that was a rude. Sorry, excuse me. Just punched him straight in the face.
Tell me I'm cool. Tell me I'm the best superhero. You are the best hero. Oh, but you are just a writer.
He's like, I'll pay you. It's like, you're a writer. You make fuck all.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of that, obviously, we did see that basically Homelander's preparing to, his insurrection, essentially, and is going to be taking down everyone within Vought that would have any sort of slight dirt on him. Tells Ashley to put the list together, and obviously Deep has a rare moment of intelligence, and he's like, wouldn't Ashley be top of this list? She's got the most dirt on all of us.
Yeah.
And Homelander's like, yeah, fine, kill her, whatever. Obviously, Black Noir gets the wrong Ashley, who apparently had no dirt on them.
Every chick around here is called Ashley.
And he's like, oh no, murder boner.
Yeah. Bro.
That was something I didn't need to see, to be fair.
No. I was like, oh, alrighty.
But Ashley runs off to Homelander's flat, essentially, or apartment, whatever, and takes some V herself. Because she thinks this is pretty much the only way she's going to get to survive. So,
and she starts turning into something weird. Like, I know the V powers affect everyone differently, but yeah, she's turning. Thing is, like, she's going to have to go back to get more V because it's only temp V.
Oh, it wasn't the temp V, was it? I thought it was the proper compound V. Because the temp V was the little vials of like the green stuff, and the compound V that Homelander had all of it given to him.
Oh, that's right.
After he took over.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah, she's anyway. Ignore that. She's gonna be turning into something weird.
Yeah. So whatever transformation we get, that we're obviously not going to see it till next season now. But Do we think Ashley's going to make it through season 5? I mean, she's obviously going to end up joining the side of the boys' crew on this one, isn't they? To get rid of Homelander.
I reckon that she will die, but I reckon she'll have like a decent fight or something, and then Homelander will come in and just blast her brains out from the back. And be like, I never liked you.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't happen, to be fair.
Yeah.
We do get the return of Sister Sage in this episode as well.
Yes.
But she walks back in when everything looks like it's going to shit for Homelander.
Yeah,
and she's like,
crying. He's
yeah.
ready to... That's it. My plan didn't work.
He's like, Newman's obviously just got the news that Newman was dead. The assassination attempt had failed. And he's like, shit, everything is in the gutter. And then Sage walks in and goes, actually, this was my entire plan. So, like, the Speaker of the House is, next in line for the president now that... Oh, that's it, because obviously they reveal the information that they planted the information to make it look like the president was planning to kill Newman all along, so he gets arrested. So he's out the picture. So, Speaker of the House gets sworn in. And Sage is like, I've got him on the phone. He's pledging his allegiance to you. That's
What? But I treated you so badly. Why'd you do it? Just see if I could. That is a bar
of a line. That is a bar of a line, man. That's exactly the sort of thing. If I was like having an ego trip on something, something intelligence-wise, that's exactly the kind of bar I'd love to say. Like, why did you do it? Just to see if I could. What's the point?
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on... I mean, I was maybe expecting, again, if they were having a big fight at the end of this season between some of the boys and the Seven, that Sister Sage was one that was going to die. Probably along with Firecracker, because they have a habit of killing off every new person they introduce to the Seven.
Well, the Seven have been a 7 since season 1, just to clarify. Since the death of Translucent. But no, look, Sister Sage, I hope she comes back for season 5. I think the type of ability and power that she has, I don't think you can really just push her to the side in season 5 because of what type of person she is. Firecracker, I could see dying, but technically she already is dying because of the meds she's taken, because of the milk.
I still love that scene where she starts coughing and Homeland is like, you're coughing all over me, it's gross. Move down the table.
Down. Another
she moves
one.
one seat and he's like, more.
Yeah.
Move over.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. But Firecracker's going to die next season. Whoa. Without a shadow of a doubt.
I think Sage is going to die next season as well, to be fair.
Maybe that, or she's going to get another lobotomy and try and screw Deep.
I mean, that was all part of her plan anyway, wasn't it? And the fact that like she was lobotomizing herself to fuck with Deep, but she didn't do it. She kept herself normal to fuck with Noir. And then I think that's just all part of her plan to like get herself sort of superiorly above them all, or get them questioning each other and going, what the hell's going on? Because their dynamic almost changed a little bit after that.
I know.
So,
did she just lobotomize her for you as well? Lobotomize what?
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, what's going on?
Yeah, I know.
It was a rough episode for the boys overall.
Yeah, they're the ending, the split. Kimiko.
I mean, yeah,
Frenchie.
we're going to get to that in a moment, to be fair, because that was heart-wrenching. But, they're there deciding that they need sort of... Because basically, Speaker gets sworn in as president. He announces that the Supes are being contracted to every part of the military to come in. Yeah, martial law sort of coming in. And that hundreds of superheroes will then report to Homelander. So it'll be like a superhero division in a way. And he takes to the podium and he talks about how he was close friends with Newman. And then he just says the Supes are going to bring in a new world order, and they're going to make America safe again. And
almost like evil Avengers.
Yeah,
like
in a way, yeah.
Thunderbolts.
And I'm just like looking at the exact quote that he said. He goes, "And to the Starlighters, whatever rock you're hiding under, we're coming for you. I'm coming for you because today a new age of superheroes begins." And the boys are there all together, and they're like, "Okay, we need to split." But they'd always talked about how their answer to everything is to always murder someone.
More murder.
So, whilst they're technically the good guys, they're also not that good because their solution to everything was to murder people. And Huey convinced them that you've got to break the cycle at some point, which is why they decided to help Newman rather than kill her.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
That didn't work out the best, but we see them then splitting at the end of this episode. So they all get their fake passports, they all say goodbye to each other, and they all go their separate ways. So first off, we get Mother Milk, who is taken out by the love sausage.
Yeah.
Getting his bit of revenge on him. Always got to love the love sausage coming back in.
Out of all the characters to take him down, it's that one. Damn. Because he nearly got choked out. I think it was season 2, I think he got choked out by it.
And then he sees him again in season 3. What was it? I can't remember the name of the... Was it like...
Oh, Hero...
Or Herogasm, that was
Herogasm, yeah.
So, yeah, his long-running feud with the love sausage continues. But it's interesting the fact that they managed to get tracked down so quickly when they're sort of scampering away.
Yeah, I know. They all did.
Don't know how they managed to do that so quickly, but obviously we see Huey and Annie get picked up. I think her name was Vicky. The soup that had the ability to she was crushing stuff comes in, and then Annie's powers come back,
and she can fully fly now.
Yeah, she zipped up and away.
Yeah,
she
not hovering.
Was absolutely gone. A little surprised that she didn't try and take out the soup and the police that were taking Huey. She just completely abandoned him straight from the off.
Yeah, but Huey was like, "Go."
Oh, was he? I'm not sure I noticed that bit, to be fair, but.
Oh, I thought he was like, yeah, like go. Go.
Fair. If he did, fair enough. So she's disappeared on the off. She'll be part of the resistance for season 5, I'm sure.
Resistance,
along with. She'll be part of the resistance. She's going to go and find A-Train, and they're going to start helping free each of the boys individually to then set up for the final battle. That's my theory.
Come on, you want to hear Homelander be like rebel scum.
Yeah, that would be good, to be fair. Nice little nod.
Yeah.
And then the most heartbreaking bit of all of it is, Kimiko and Frenchie are sort of making their escape through the sort of shipping containers, and all of a sudden you see Kimiko get thrown into the side of one by Sam from Gen V, and then Frenchie you see a hand grab him around the face, and it's Kate whispering into his ear, and he just goes into a trance and just starts walking off while Sam's holding Kimiko back. Just as a little point, because it annoyed me, Kate got her hand exploded off in Gen V, right? And then when she grabs Frenchie round the throat or round the face here, she's got her hand back. We'd seen her previously with like a glove on.
Wait, wasn't it her right hand? It was her right hand that got blown off. But was it her left hand that she grabbed him?
Pretty sure it was her right hand, because she came from his right hand side and grabbed him like that.
Oh,
so I'm pretty sure it was the same hand that got blown off, and somehow she's got that back. Unless it's some cool robotics thing. But I'm pretty sure she shouldn't have the hand. Yeah. There should have been a glove over it or something like that anyway.
That just reminds me of, there was the promotional material for Winter Soldier and Captain America where they kept doing the wrong hand.
Yeah. Or what was it, WandaVision, when he had Paul Bettany obviously in the vision, and he had like a sleeve open or something, you could just see his white arm instead of being purple.
That's right. Yeah. Or there's a couple of posters, I think, for Secret Invasion where they put the wrong eye patch on the wrong eye.
They can never decide which eye it's supposed to be on. I know it's supposed to be on the left eye, but never quite sure on that one, are they? But
no.
But yeah, obviously, so Kimiko has gone through a lot in what we've learned about her and her story, and she's been mute this entire time. And after finally Kimiko and Frenchie got together in this episode, after they talked to each other and were like, we've got to start forgiving ourselves a little bit every day just to get through. But they finally decide they're going to be together. They kiss and everything. Oh, cool, happy ending. Disney, way.
Yeah,
and then,
Disney ending doesn't happen for long.
And then Kate's marching off with hypnotised Frenchie, and Kimiko screams out no. And it actually took me a few seconds to realise that she was speaking or shouting.
Yeah.
Because she started screaming no, and I didn't even think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, obviously they're taking Frenchie away, so she's screaming no. And then I was like, oh shit, she's actually fucking talking.
I was the same. I was like, oh, this is gut wrenching. This isn't right. I was like, hang on, wait a minute. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, absolutely heart-wrenching, to be fair. So,
Yeah.
and does it not maybe also show how ridiculously powerful Sam actually is? Because Kimiko is powerful, and he was holding her back and throwing her around like a rag doll. So I think we underestimate Sam's actual power, to be fair.
Well, yeah. Well, the only time we've seen Sam really use his power was he was decimating those cops, like nothing, which were actual puppets.
Yeah, fair. So he rips them all apart, kind of like how Homelander did to Webweaver in an episode or two ago.
The grossest superhero. Oh,
so funny though.
yeah.
But yeah, and obviously we already spoke about the post-credit scene of obviously Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy.
And then that brought us to the end. Some people have said it's obviously maybe not their favourite series so far, which I think is probably fair. It's not been as up and down as The Acolyte, as we've recently discussed, in terms of the quality going up and down. It's been a bit more even on that. But it's still, obviously, you can say... I think maybe Season 3 was my favourite. I think it was consistently good almost every single episode. Whereas this, you can probably point out ones that maybe were a little bit slow and other ones that were better in this series. I think Episode 5, the whole deal with obviously the V'd-up sheep and stuff like that was... And was that not the same episode where we got Homelander going back to his old Vought facility where he kills all of them?
Yeah.
I think that was the same episode, if my memory served. So that was obviously a pretty epic episode all round. It might have been the week before, but
I think it was the week before, and then we got this one.
But then, so yeah, some really good highlights in here, and then the sauna pink eye episode. It's just to throw it all in there. This season is even when the episode maybe isn't as good as others, the quality is still good.
Well, that's right, and that's what I 100% agree with. You know, if we do compare it with the current show right now, which is Acolyte, is that all the episodes of season 4 of The Boys, even though if you didn't love every episode still had its emotional beat. It still kept its quality all the way through. It's still a solid season, you know, and you can still go from season 1, 2, 3, and 4 quality, consistency all the way through. You don't have those lull points like Acolyte or Andor, where you did, or some Marvel TV shows like Secret Invasion, where you're just like, oh, this is just 60 minutes of just buying time, or 40 minutes of just fluff. Every episode is important.
Yeah. And that's, I think, when you've got an 8-episode show, you have to do with every episode. There's no filler, there's no story that is... What's the word I'm looking for? That's too unimportant to be told properly. Because they give each episode the time. I mean, each episode is effectively an hour. I mean, they're not trying to rush the story in 25, 30 minutes.
No.
So they're giving themselves the time to tell the story. And again, not to fire shots at a certain other show that's been playing at the exact same time through the last 8 weeks, but when The Acolyte is rumoured to be one of the most expensive TV shows of all time in terms of the budget that they've had, and they're still telling us that they cut stuff out due to budgetary reasons, and each episode's only half an hour long, and then you get something like The Boys that I'm sure it has a fairly high budget, but
that's Amazon money though, bro.
It's Amazon money. A lot of things are still practical. They give each episode the time it needs to tell the story. They don't just go, we're going to rush through this and we're going to tell the story quickly and cut out bits that are important or that would make it better viewing for the viewer itself. They're happy to give it the time to tell the story, which is one of the most important things that I think you can do in a show.
Yeah, you got to have that breathing room. You got to let everything play out, not just try and cram it in and makes you wonder where all the budget goes.
There's a little bit, but we're not here to talk Acolyte, to be fair. That's a completely separate thing for us to have done. Overall, then,
totally fair. The only reason why we're ripping on it so much is because it's out right now at the same time as The Boys, and the fact that when you're like us watching episodes side by side, the difference in quality and difference in writing is massive.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be a different conversation if we were watching Ahsoka right now.
I mean, when it's two big franchises or two big shows, I mean, the boys may not have the biggest fandom compared to Star Wars. But at the same point, they're two really big shows that have, or one really popular, massive franchise versus one show that's individually been very popular and very praised. So when they're both on every single week, it's hard not to compare them, isn't it? So. But anyway, the Acolyte is its own thing. We've already discussed that before, so let's not worry too much about that right now. Overall, then, season 4 of The Boys. Give me a rating, Lee. What would you sit it at?
Season 4 of The Boys, I would give it. I give it 8 out of 10. 7 seems too short for me because there was still a lot of good high points. If we're comparing, I'd say season 3 of The Boys would be a 9. But I give season 4 of The Boys an 8, just because, again, the writing's fantastic. Every emotional beat, every character has a moment to shine and develop on points that have been brought up from seasons 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes when these shows, you have a character you can tell has been left to the side, or there wasn't much for them. And I think I've seen some comments about being the Deep, that he didn't have a lot this season. Like, you gotta remember, Deep, he doesn't need a whole lot. Like this season, he's all Homelander, so he doesn't really need that extra step. And he did get his beat because of the squid or octopus, which is voiced by the Ancient One in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So I think the quality's still there, and if season 3's a 9 out of 10, season 4's an 8 out of 10, I just hope that season 5 is going to be 10 out of 10.
We can only hope. Personally, I'm just about the same level as you. I think I'd give it about a 7.8 out of 10.
Like 7 seems too low. Just a straight 7.
I know what you mean, but it's not a straight 7, so I'm almost at an 8. I think just under an 8, because I do like to go the decimal points, because I think it gives you a bit more range then to be able to give it what it deserves. Because it's not a 7, but it's not quite an 8. I don't think. I still think there is some unbelievable acting in this series, especially by Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. I think he doesn't get a lot of credit for some of the acting. If he doesn't win, I don't know what, I can't remember what it is. The Emmys, is it, for TV shows or something?
So he's got to win something for it.
If he doesn't get an Emmy for, especially like some of the episodes we got where we talked about where he goes back to the old room that he used to get tortured in as a kid, and his sort of descent into madness a little bit. And they're going back and forth between him trying to work out his relationship with Ryan and then going just nuts and not giving a shit because the plan around him was descending and falling apart, or as he thought it was. So I think he's done a tremendous job, and he is almost the backbone. Whilst there is no one here that's really not pulling their weight in terms of the main characters, for the most part, everyone's doing what they need to do in terms of their own characters and the acting that they're bringing for it. But Homelander is obviously the backbone of this show, to be fair.
If it's not him, it's Butcher. It'd be him and Butcher. That's really the two main horses.
Absolutely. So I can't wait for season 5, 2026, I believe. Which
that's the only thing that was like, you're getting Gen V season 2, but it's almost like I would be more happy getting season 4 of The Boys, season 5 of The Boys than Gen V season 2.
I mean, it's literally just finished, so a 2-year wait normally it's about a year wait, isn't it, in between series? But because of Gen V season 2, we're going to get that next year, I believe, isn't it? Or is it later this year? I can't remember.
Next year.
And then obviously roll into season 5 in 2026. So, if nothing, anticipation whets the appetite.
Yeah, that's true. Do you like? What do you think about the idea? Because I think it was Marvin, the actor who plays Marvin. What do you think about the idea that you're having season 5 and then leads off to a movie to wrap everything up?
I'm never normally a fan of them doing that, simply because if you've turned around and gone, this is going to be the last season that we're doing the show, you expect that season to end with the end of the story.
Yeah, that's
true. You expect them to build up to it, and if they sort of... You know what it reminds me of the first time I got ever disappointed by this sort of scenario happening was Stargate SG-1. I was a huge fan of the show, and they did it for Yeah, it's still am. They did it for 10 seasons, and I remember having a massive build up to the last episode. The fight against the Ori, it was all going to come down to this. The last episode, and it was basically a cop-out episode where they got stuck in a time warp on a ship for like 60 odd years or something, and basically showed how they would live out their lives if they had that time to do it. And then they finished off that whole story with a film. I remember finishing that final episode of the 10th series and being pissed that that's how they ended the series. So I don't really like the idea of the series coming to an end and they still haven't basically ended the story that they're waiting for the film. If they announce it, I mean, because they've come out now, if they had announced it before and said, okay, we're doing season 5, but we're going to finish it with a film, then you could go, fair enough. Then I'm not going to be expecting the whole scenario and situation to end with season 5. But they come out and gone, season 5, final season, that's where I expect it to end because they've already announced that. And that's where I want it to end then. I don't want them to go double back and go, actually, we might just throw in a film just to get a bit extra money and a bit of extra viewership.
The hard thing is with Stargate, I feel like the ending to Stargate season 10, I think, is one of those studio things where it's like they should have done a season 11. Season 11 needed to happen to wrap everything up, but obviously they've been caught off guard and gone, no, we're only doing season 10, and because of how much they built up with the Ori. Not to going off topic, but I think it's one of those where it got cut off earlier than they wanted it to be. Because everything that happened in the movie, you would have needed another 4 episodes to go over that. And then continue them, and then I just still wish we got the 3rd movie that was meant to be planned.
Well, if the long ongoing rumors are true, obviously Amazon are bringing it back.
I hope so. It's. I hope they do, and I really do hope they go on the fashion of it being a legacy sequel. Yeah, you've had 10 seasons building up SG-1. You have 5 seasons of Atlantis, 3 of Universe.
Two of Universe. Yeah.
So 2 of Universe. Sorry. I hope they do it as a legacy sequel. I hope, we get a new team, everything updated. I can only imagine what the CGI and everything would look like now.
Yeah, fair.
In this. And I think if you do it as a legacy sequel show, you'll get a lot of fans coming back. Now, obviously, you probably only get a handful of legacy characters back. I don't think Richard Dean Anderson would come back at all. Not to go on this tangent, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah, if they bring it back, I can't wait to see it if they do finally get it over the line. So
yeah, I hope so. And Amazon money too.
I know. Yeah. This is where that's where it all is now, isn't it? The Amazon money. Well, maybe Apple money as well. To be fair, it's not too bad nowadays. But
no,
I don't spend that much time on Apple TV. To be fair,
neither do I. But if you look at The Boys, you look at Fallout, and that's why when I heard the fact that they're making the God of War TV show and it's under the Amazon banner, I was like, fine. I'm not nervous or concerned at all. Especially if you told me, it's going to be on Netflix.
And they'll cancel it after a season.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Cancel after 1 season.
But yeah, Netflix makes some weird decisions, man. I mean, it just baffles my mind. Did you see that film Monkey Man?
No,
it came out
sort of recently. To watch.
But great film, absolutely great film.
I need to watch.
The fact that Netflix made it, the whole film was finished and ready to go, and they went, actually, we don't want to release it.
Yeah,
and so Universal Studios bought it for $10 million, and all they had to do was market it and throw the film out there, which they did, and they made more than their money back. It was a great film. I don't know what the hell Netflix did by not releasing it, because it's a really good film.
I don't know. Between Wednesday absolutely blew up and everything, and I think they really strung along whether they're going to do a season 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you are doing a season 2 because how much popular that show, which again, the season 2 of that feels so far away. But you're right, Monkey Man's a perfect example. And then what's the other one that's with Warner Brothers that's still in loop is the Acme Wile E. Coyote versus Acme with John Cena. Apparently that's pretty decent.
Writing off for tax purposes.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Leigh, thank you very much, brother, for jumping on and discussing The Boys and Me. Super, super grateful
Anytime,
to you
man.
for coming on. Tell all these people at home, all these people that haven't followed you yet, exactly where they can find you.
It's very similar to you, man. You can find me at Lights Camera Rant on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Twitter/X, LinkedIn, and OnlyFans.
Oh, really? How much is your subscription cost for OnlyFans?
It's for free because no one's paying.
Is it just pay-per-view stuff? Is it in the messages, in the DMs?
That's it. It's just more links right back to my YouTube channel.
Fair. I like the tactic.
It has the blurred out photos, thinking you think you're going to get something, but it's literally just the YouTube video.
It's just your link tree. It's just been blurred
Exactly
out.
right. Just a link tree. But to subscribe to me, you have to go via Galactic Core Podcast first.
I appreciate that. But yeah, like I mentioned at the start of the show, you can find my show on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook if you're still old and knocking around on there. And obviously
apparently boomers watch me.
yeah, that's literally all they're watching. And YouTube as well. Give us a subscribe and a follow on there. You can catch all the episodes, everything dated back. You can go back and see the episodes that Leigh's been on. We've been on quite a few now, including the amazing anniversary episode that we had a few months back. That the little crew that we seem to have built around us all came on for. So that was truly epic. Leigh, always a pleasure to have you on. But for everyone else, it's going to be a double episode drop this week. I'm dropping this review with the boys, and I've got the Acolyte finale review coming out as well. Obviously, as I've been reviewing these shows over the last 2 months, I've been doing both episodes of each show on the same episode of the podcast. But I decided to separate them out for the finale and have a good chinwag about both. So you're very lucky. You're going to be getting a double episode drop. And then Deadpool.
Oh,
Deadpool's
I'm excited.
coming. Well, I mean, as we're recording this, it's Saturday for me, Sunday for you, because we're opposite sides of the world. So it's only 5-6 days till Deadpool's out. Going to be recording about 5 or 6 days after it comes out, with a very special podcast guest as well. That'll be out.
I'm excited. I wonder who it is.
Going to be taking a break for a little bit because I've got a baby coming, little baby on the way.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. I'm just throwing as well. Only 2 months to your wedding, so
I know. Only 9 weeks. Only 9
are you
weeks.
going to be taking a week break from the podcast to do the wedding?
No.
The man is relentless, people.
Nah, I still figure out how I'm gonna do that episode, whatever it may be. But now I'm not gonna miss a week. I'm gonna still do it, having 2 weeks off for the wedding, so we'll have time to pump out a small episode.
This is why all the other podcasters I chat to want to be like Leigh, because he's just relentless with his episodes. Not even taking a break from getting married. I'm not even taking a break to get married, I should say. He's going to squeeze it in there somewhere.
Yeah, just don't tell
he's going to be on his honeymoon, recording on his phone, going live on YouTube, whilst the missus is down the beach sipping a pina colada.
Well, actually, I did say to her, I was like, hey, if we ever go overseas, and for 3.5 weeks, then I'm just going to turn to Lights Camera Rant World Tour.
Nice. I like that. See, whereas I'm going to take maybe 5 odd weeks off when my baby arrives, but I am going to be having
because it's your child.
Yeah, it's a child. I need to actually put some effort into my life for that one. So,
You did put effort in it to make.
Well, I put some effort into conceiving. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But don't worry, the Galactic Core podcast won't be completely abandoned for sort of a good 5-6 weeks. I will have a couple of episodes with some guest hosts for you. I've tapped up a couple of friends of the show, asked them to come on, talk about some talk stuff, and so you won't be completely devoid of. Well, actually, you will be devoid of me for that time. So try not to miss me too much. But a few episodes to go before I disappear, and I will be back obviously around about September to have a return chat with everyone about what's been going on and what is upcoming. So that's it for this week. Sorry?
I'll be very excited to see when you come back, man.
Yeah, I will have a little companion to talk through everything with. So it's not that they'll be able to give me any opinions. I'm sure their opinion's going to be garbage for a while. But until they've learned to talk anyway, it's fine. But no, I will be back, like I said, double episode this week. The boys, you've listened to it now. Make sure you tune in for the Acolyte. But everyone, until then,
will be with you always.
You know what? I love my fucking tech. Doesn't play when I want it too early on the show, and then played about 5 seconds early then when I press the stupid button. But thanks, everyone. Catch you later.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Galactic Core Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. But until next time, go get your geek on.